I'm Parker Dahl.
And I'm Warren Eichhoff.
And welcome to So What?
Place where we ask the question that is on the mind of many of our students. So what?
I mean, why do I need to learn? I've learned enough. No more learning.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
The following are but some of the answers to those questions, and as always, you should do your own research.
Today, we will talk to you about the Protestant Reformation.
Specifically, how the ideals of Martin Luther will spread.
First, we need to start with who Martin Luther even was. He was a Catholic monk who criticized the Catholic Church for not upholding Christian values. He's going to write down these criticisms in an essay entitled The 95 Theses, which talked about all the ways in which the Catholic Church was abusing its power.
One way the church was abusing its power was by the sale of indulgences. Anyone, no matter how righteous or evil, could obtain salvation by giving money to the Catholic Church. Not only this, but you could purchase salvation for family members who had already died. So, worried about that grandma who's stuck in purgatory?
Indulgences for sale.
Did you talk bad about your neighbor last week?
Come get your indulgences.
Did you go to a village, kill all the people, burn down every hut, take all the money, and then laugh as you walked away?
Hey, yeah, you. We can make all that just disappear. Come on over here and buy one of these pieces of paper. It will absolve you of all sin. It's called an indulgence. Hi there. I just have to say, so what?
Did you even hear my example?
I know that life can get you down sometimes, but that's only if you pay attention to the problems. You need to remember that life is what you make it. So stop focusing on things that make people sad, like real life issues. Instead, focus on the stuff that makes every day better, because
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool with my part of the team. Everything is awesome.
whoa, you're a whole lot of something. But let's go ahead and test that theory, that ignoring problems will simply make them disappear. We will go back to Wittenberg, Germany, 1517. Hello, random theological individual. Can you please tell me your name and your opinions on the institution of the Catholic Church?
Why, hello. My name is Martin Luther. I find that the church has been tainted. Instead of leading people to salvation, it seems more interested in filling its own treasury. It cares more about adorning its great cathedrals rather than focusing on filling them with Christian teachings. The church has gone so far as to advertise the sale of grace, but as I see it, they have none to spare.
Whoa, that was heavy. Have you ever considered the idea that people might just be happier if you ignored it?
That is an interesting thought. For an ignorant man need not worry about starving, for they will just not think about the lack of food on their plate. The ignorant man need not worry about war, for the violence will skip their house if they close their eyes. The ignorant man need not worry about the church leading him to damnation, because the money taken from their pockets and their eternally damned souls will simply not happen if they look the other way. No, I would argue this problem has only gotten worse because people ignored it, and I find your question ignorant, sir.
I was asking for a friend, but sure, try and make me feel bad. Fine. Bye. You see, Martin Luther was living during a time when education was becoming slightly more available, but also the Catholic Church's abuses were becoming brazen enough for anybody to see. But it was because Martin Luther was a person of faith that he cared at all. He wanted to revive Christian values within the Catholic Church and bring it to the people. He had one problem standing in between him and that goal: the Catholic Church.
Martin Luther studied in Wittenberg, Germany, and after he published his 95 Theses, he was summoned to the Diet of Worms.
It was at this diet that the Holy Roman Emperor demanded Luther retract his statements. Martin Luther doubled down and spoke with conviction, and actually convinced some of the people in attendance to go towards his movement.
The Holy Roman Emperor outlawed Luther and his beliefs, essentially sentencing him to death. It was at this point that Luther needed help.
A member of the noble class, Frederick of Saxony, protected Luther and funded the spread of his ideals. Luther will translate the Bible into German for the very first time, making it so that people could actually read it.
Most people still couldn't read, but this gave them an opportunity. Luther believed that people should have a personal relationship with their religion. Instead of being told what to do, he called this the community of all believers.
Some people took this concept to the extreme as they started raiding the countryside and dragging nobles out of their houses to kill them.
Yeah, Luther would actually side with the princes in this struggle and call for an end to the violence. He was a church reformer, not a social reformer.
Everything's not awesome,
Yeah, we know. That's what we're singing about it.
but that doesn't mean that it's hopeless and bleak.
John Calvin will institute a new sect of Christianity known as Calvinism.
He operated out of Geneva, Switzerland, and held the belief that every person's life and afterlife were predetermined.
Geneva would become a safe haven for all Protestant exiles, and would soon spread to the likes of Scotland, England, New England, France, and Transylvania.
In England, Henry VIII was against Martin Luther and wrote an essay criticizing him. The Pope liked this so much that he named Henry VIII the Defender of the Faith.
Henry VIII was married to Catherine of Aragon, but they had a problem.
Yeah, he was in love with another woman, Anne Boleyn.
No, he had no male heir. He asked the Pope for an annulment, and the Pope was like,
Ha ha, good one.
and then Henry VIII was like, no, but really. But then the Pope responded with,
But your alliance with Spain is contingent on this marriage, and we don't want to upset the Holy Roman Emperor now, do we?
and Henry VIII was like, yeah, but I want to marry Anne, but I mean, I need a male heir. So, like, annulment?
No. No. No, you may not have an annulment.
But Henry VIII was like, I'm King of England. I make my own decisions. And so he decides that he'll just divorce Catherine of Aragon, break away from the Catholic Church, start his own church known as the Church of England, and, oh yeah, he'll be the head of that too. Not to mention the fact that he'll actually marry Anne Boleyn, and then kill her, and then get married like 4 other times.
At this point, the Catholic Church realized they were having some problems. So they convened the Council of Trent with the main goal of addressing the problems that led to the Reformation.
Out of this council will come a dual approach. The Catholic Church will renew inquisitions targeting Protestants, but they will also encourage the development of more education through institutions like the Jesuits.
Europe will be forever changed by the actions of Martin Luther, not only by means of personal religion, but by the ideals of personal empowerment.
You see, the world Martin Luther was in was not perfect. He had many problems with how the Catholic Church was conducting itself, so he decided to do something about it.
As we will continue to see, the world he helped create also had some problems. Our current world has many issues ranging from crises of humanity to crises of climate.
But what we learned from the Reformation is that we're only as powerful as we think we are. If we choose to ignore problems, then those problems will only get worse and harder to impact.
It's only after we acknowledge that there's a problem that we can hope to solve it.
Life isn't perfect, and there will never be a time that is just awesome.
But that doesn't mean we can just throw up our hands and ignore things. Instead, we should move forward with educated opinions and address those issues. You can't cure a disease if you refuse to acknowledge its presence.
Why would an institution change if nobody speaks up to tell them that there's a problem?
Change only happens when you use your voice to speak up and make your presence known.
So, what will you say next?
Asking for a friend? Sure. Poor ignorant fellow. Try reading a book.
Everything's not awesome. Things can be awesome all of the time. It's an unrealistic expectation. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try to make everything awesome in a less idealistic kind of way. We should maybe aim for our bad. 'Cause not bad right now would be.
I'm dropping this way, shit, I'm back in command. I'm turning the switch.
Calm down.